What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah Vandermeer, editor of Cannabis Culture and Pod TV, chilling here at 307 West Hastings at the Pod TV studios, brought to you by Crop King Seeds, our amazing sponsor here at I hear noises in the background. You know what that is? Where's that coming from here? I do hear some sound. I hope that's not coming through our speaker here. I want to make sure it's not. So, today in the show, we're going to be bringing Johnny Boy, our co-host, in on Skype in just a few moments. But first, hold on, let me get my screen back. I just don't want any HDMI weirdness with voices coming through behind me on these screens. What's up, chatters? I can see all y'all there. Johnny's in the chat. Oh, it is coming through here. Hold on a second. Where is that coming from? Close all these windows. Quit you. There we go. I can't monitor from my computer because it's running the screens. What's up, guys, in the chat? Rick, Johnny, John, Maddox is there. James, Doob. What's up, guys? Yes. So, yeah, we're just chilling. On the show today, besides Johnny B, Kylie's in the house actually right now too. We're going to wait one sec though. We'll bring you on in a sec. I'm going to get the chair. But also, the theme of the show today was pushing the pot movement to higher limits. And it's kind of a pun because I'm going to have John and Alex from Higher Limits on the show today. Higher Limits is the new dispensary in Windsor, Ontario. Now, this is just a brand new dispensary that opened. They've been getting a lot of press. This is an amazing dispensary. It's really big. Or sorry, not a dispensary, it's a lounge. It's an amazing lounge, it's really big, not a dispensary. That's why it's such a big deal. They're not selling weed, not like we do at the lounge here. They have a recreational Jesus, I'm really fucking hot. They have a non-recreational lounge. We have a recreational lounge, theirs is medical. So they, in the press, have been talking about how they're gonna keep it super medical. They're at this moment, going to keep it very clean around there because the police in Windsor, as you know, are probably not as nice as the police here in Vancouver. The police in Ontario have, as you guys know, if you've been watching this show, gone and busted Good Weeds, which was doing what we were doing here, a recreational thing, selling bong tokes, selling dabs, doing that whole thing. We're selling joints here. So far, so good on our side. We haven't been harassed by any police, but I wanted to bring the people that run lounges onto the show to talk about what they're all about. And also, we had Goodweeds on the show. Goodwin, Chris and Aaron both are good friends, and they told us about how the cops came through their place, busted the place up, and not really broke it up, but took them away, closed it down, put paper over the windows, did that whole deal, and now they're not actually allowed in the building. So people like this, like Alex and Jon, are taking a risk doing this stuff because, as you know, in Canada, you're not really allowed to have a vapor lounge at all. There's smoking bylaws in Windsor, and in fact, there's a High Times article about Jon and Alex and their Higher Limits Higher Limits lounge, not a dispensary in Windsor, that says they aren't allowed to have ashtrays on tables. That's one of the weird bylaws. So we're going to talk to them about what the hell's going on with that. Yeah, they have a lounge, but you're not allowed to have ashtrays. And as we deal with the same kind of thing in the city of Vancouver here, we have bylaws that stop people from smoking any kind of substance. And in Vancouver, they've included herbs in that. We're not supposed to be smoking indoors of any kind. But, of course, we break those laws because we know they're bad. We know that nobody's really breaking any real harmful laws. You know, it's bylaws. We're smoking. We all want to be high here. We all know that marijuana smoke is being consumed here, and we don't think that marijuana smoke is dangerous. It's not like tobacco smoke that can be proven in court to be dangerous to your lungs and that kind of stuff. Marijuana smoke is not dangerous in that way. So, all right, guys. Kylie is here. I want to get her on the show because she's going to show off some stuff that we have here at the Cannabis Culture store downstairs at 307 West Hastings. You guys can come in. If you didn't know, we have a big bong store with books, magazines. We have the Urban Shaman down there. And I'm wearing the Urban Shaman shirt underneath of this today. Oh, yeah. Kylie, come on over and bring a chair, would you? I can grab that chair for you. Hold on, you have a big basket here. Oh, okay.
Technical difficulties printing.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Unfortunately.
We can do that.
Moment. I don't know. I think she said she was going to send it to you as I was walking down the stairs. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will do that, and we can show off the poster right now. Here, let's see this.
For the next weekend sale.
Yeah, look how pretty this is.
This is the first
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Released what we'll be doing for Valentine's Day weekend. It is a really big sale.
The Stoner Sweetheart Sale.
Yeah.
And it's 2 for 1. You can bring a date. Yes, please, grab the
I feel
microphone.
like I should probably be talking into this.
You need a microphone to talk. Here, we'll
Okay.
get you on the monitor here so you can see yourself. You have a basket in front of
I
your
do
face
have
right
a
now.
basket in front of my face.
Yeah, we should definitely move that basket so we can see your pretty face here.
Hi.
Look at that.
Hi.
There we go. And yes.
Yeah.
So, Kylie, you work downstairs in the store.
I do.
And what's in the basket here? Tell us about our sale.
Well, this basket is separate from the sale. Essentially, this basket itself is just like a basket to win. You every $100 that you spend gets you a ballot into the entry, and
Nice.
on the 1st of March we'll be drawing for it. And this month it kind of just I went with the whole Valentine's Day theme, you know, being February. And
We're doing this every
everything.
month then.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah.
Cool.
It's something I enjoy doing, so figure why not. This
Is her mic on? Everything's good?
Yeah.
Let's see here. It should be good.
Am I good?
I think you're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
With the chatters, there's a bit of a latency issue with our chat, so when they tell us what's going on, it's usually a couple minutes after it actually happens.
Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
okay, cool. So we're doing this on the constant now. So where do you get these ballots?
You get them in the store. Yeah, like I said, every $100 that you spend, we just give you a ballot to fill out. We'll put your name and your phone number on it and throw it in the basket on your way out. And
Cool.
yeah, and then at the month we shake
And
it all
what's
up.
in
and,
this basket?
this basket this month is really couples dab themed. It comes with a custom rig in it. Just at the front there, it's made by 2 local glassblowers, Nico and Gore.
Cool.
So it's a collab with partners. Yeah, figured.
Cool stuff in there.
Yeah, and then there's his and her sort of dab containers.
I'm
There's
going here. Basket cam.
there's some mugs. There's some chocolates, a torch, 2 dab tools, 2 dab mat sets. There's a bunch of candy, some rolling papers, some lighters, just like everything essentially you'd need for dabbing and smoking some.
Looks like a candy cane bong going on there.
Yeah, it's
Or
really
a-
cute,
it's a
and
heart- it's
the
a
millies on
Valentine's
it.
Day bong.
Yeah, the millies on it are hearts, and we actually do have connections with the people who have them. So the people who made it. So if their winners are interested, we are able to get like custom carb caps and pendants if you want.
Cool.
We're able to put you in connection with them. So
Nice.
yeah, it's handy.
Very cool. So, I mean, we've got a ton of stuff going on in the store downstairs.
We do.
I mean, let's go through the lineup of stuff we have. It's like just glass, not just glass. We have tons of stash cases and
Sifter
clothing.
boxes, lots of clothes. Oh, I love all the clothes.
We have endless amounts of
lots of
stoner
hemp products.
stuff. Yeah, hemp products, soaps,
Yep. Yeah.
Dr. Bronner's.
Dr. Brommer's.
Yeah.
is-
What'd you say, Victoria? Say that again. Oh,
Oh yeah,
games. We
yeah.
have
There's
stoner
games.
even.
There's cards. There's ashtrays, incense. Our incense, actually, I even included incense in here, and massage oils. Yeah, because it's couples. So.
And we have a massive selection
yeah.
of vaporizers and stuff like that too.
That too. Yes, vaporizers for both herbal and concentrate. Lots of locally blown pipes, bongs.
And of
rigs.
course, stoner books. So if you want to learn how to grow, or you want basically anything to do with this movement, it's cannabis culture. So anything to do with cannabis, you're gonna find in this building. It used to be everything you need but the weed, but now we have weed in the building
Yeah.
too. So
We just try and make it as convenient as possible in like one place. So.
everything you need and the weed.
Yeah. I also brought this. If you wanted, yeah, little Valentine's Day goodie bags, stoner sweetheart
nice.
bags.
Stoner
what I
sweetheart
call
bags.
them.
Oh, is there chocolate?
There is there's a little grinder, some rollies, a lighter, the chocolate, like a lollipop.
Nice.
Yeah, gummy candies,
For
everything
the
you need.
stoner on your Valentine's Day
Yeah,
gift
give
list.
it like a little. You can write your name, pass it to your little Valentine.
28
Yeah.
dabs later wants a shirt. He says he's been asking for years, a cannabis culture shirt. So I believe
We've got
we're-
those.
Do we?
We've got. I don't know about men's, unfortunately, at the moment. We are looking into getting some more with some more like
with a
new
modern logo.
Yeah, new logo,
Yeah.
very
'Cause our cannabis
up to
culture
date.
shirts, we had the old school logo, or just
Yeah,
the like,
those have
tall
been-
one from the old magazine. Yeah.
So we're gonna try and redesign those, get
Yeah.
them better
Yeah,
looking.
we got lots of stuff going on at Cannabis Culture as usual. Now we have our store downstairs. That's the one at 307 West Hastings. But we also have a second location now.
1674 Davy Street.
Yeah.
There's that one. Yeah.
And there's a lounge there too.
And also a dispensary as well too
That's
for
right,
people
a
with medicinal
dispensary.
cards.
Yes, we do have a dispensary there.
Yes.
So that's an Eden dispensary actually, not quite a Cannabis Culture one.
No.
But
No, sorry.
our good friends at Eden. Yeah, if you have a medical card, you can come in there.
And then
get
if you
stuff.
don't, our lounge still sells dabs and
That's right.
everything there. So
yeah, we're kind of doing the risky biz thing, and we're going full forward on this one.
Go hard or
so
go home.
That's right. You guys can come down. Anybody, it doesn't really matter, and as long as you have ID, you're 18, you can get into the lounge. I've heard that there are some dispensaries in the city of Vancouver doing similar things now, where you don't have to show off a medical card. You can
just need a
show
photo
your
ID.
and as long as you're 18, then you can purchase it. So.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Johnny has
Makes it a bit easier.
What's he talking about? Pink medtainers there. Needs a pink medtainer in the case, Johnny says.
Ooh, yeah, that would have been good.
We should definitely have a pink medtainer in there. We're going to bring Johnny on the show in just a little bit here. Not too long, as soon as we get the basket. Because we had the basket in your face. It would be in Johnny's face, too.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't want basket on
so,
anyone's
Kylie,
face.
thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
That's great.
thank you
I
for
don't want to
having
steal
me.
you away from work for too
probably,
long.
Probably go back.
Field trip.
They probably want
but
me.
we'll get you coming back on the show on more of a regular basis to just kind of show some stuff.
I can bring some local glass and stuff up too in the future and future sales and we have a ton
of cool stuff down there. So.
Do you mind if I really quickly recap on the
please
sale?
do it.
Just because it is just certain things. All of our rolling papers, T-shirts, the MJ creams, Canada vapors, Boss vapor pens, medtainers, which were just talked about, gear bongs, Erie bongs, and Sharpstone grinders. All of those are 2 for 1. So, that's just
ridiculous.
Yeah, oh my God.
2 for 1.
Yeah, and it's only from Friday the 12th to the 14th. So get it while you
tell
can.
your friends and loved ones good gifts and bring a partner.
Yeah.
Bring your lover.
You can mix and match grinders, colors. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff down at the store. So come in for the sale and see what else you like.
Check it out.
Thanks, Kylie.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming on.
Of course. Thank you for
we'll have
having
you
me.
back soon. And this awesome basket.
Yes, I
This
will
one's
take
not
that.
for me.
Put it on the store. Come enter the win, guys.
There you go.
Thank you.
Awesome. So 307 West Hastings, come on down. We also have a store online, so if you can't make it down in person, I'm sure we're doing some. I'm not sure how the sale's going to work online yet, but I'm sure we're doing something about it. I don't know. But CannabisCultureHQ.com is the place. Cannabis Culture HQ. So Johnny B, I guess we ought to bring you in, shouldn't we? Let's do that then. Let's get Johnny B going. I'm just going to have to get him on Skype on my own computer here. Johnny. So, Mr. John Burfello, who...
is the place.
Oh, turn your volume down, Johnny.
It's good.
Okay. And here we go. Let's get you full screen again. Oh, yeah. Come on, come on. Oh, Skype, why must you? There we go. Yeah, Johnny, look at that. We got Johnny again. How you doing, Johnny? Can we hear you?
I am fantastic. Of course I can hear you.
Down a little. It's a little loud. Yeah, it's just a little hot on your microphone. Now we can hear you. And can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
Beautiful. And hopefully, chatters, you can hear Johnny okay. Please let us know if it's too loud or if there's any feedback or anything like that. So, Johnny, looking good, my friend? You're kind of like doing RoboCop style.
Can you hear me?
How you feeling, man? Uh-oh.
It's nice to be sitting here with you guys, but at home on the site instead of going down to good old 307 West Hastings for Pop TV, which I always love to come down. But you know what? Because of the new surgery, it would be kind of not too smart to be driving around.
No, you're right. Yeah, we were getting a bit of sound strangeness there for a second. But yeah, it sounds okay now. You probably shouldn't drive down here. We discussed you coming actually down to the studio. But as you said, if a car hit you or if anything bad happened, we wouldn't want anything bad to happen to you. We want you to just heal so that you can come back later, Johnny.
No, we don't want anything to happen.
No, that would be very bad. And, of course, this way we have you just fine. We can see you and hear you perfectly. You look great. There's a little bit of sketchiness on the Skype as usual. Skype's never perfect, and you look good with your haircut, Johnny. That haircut. You're like me now. We're both bald. I know, and clean shaven. Now you just have to grow a beard.
6 weeks, I'm going to show all of you. Hey, you know what? One of my favorite sayings is 1 minute warning, guys. 1 minute warning.
1 minute warning. Oh, is it getting close here? Oh. So sometimes the Skype connection doesn't look like it's so solid, but at least we can see your head. Oh, thank you, Tia. Tia's in the house. We got to get you on cam, T.
Well, guys, you know what? Cannabis is amazing.
You're right, it is. And Johnny, tell them what you got in your hand there. What is it that you're working with? Oh, Skype. Look at that. You're just moving too much, Johnny.
LA show live mixed with rap and AC. Did you get that?
We're getting about half of what you say, John. So, sorry, brother. We got you. We're doing okay.
420.
Happy 420. That's all we really needed to hear. You know what I need is a bong toke, though, and I don't have my bong with me. Would somebody mind doing that for me? Thanks, Jody. That's so nice. Jody Emery in the house, being my bong slave. That's super nice of her. Okay, so, Johnny, you're in the background now. On the show also today, which I haven't announced yet, and hopefully if they show up, I did advertise it and they said they were coming, but Ted and Owen Smith, not related, are coming on the show today. And Ted, of course, is the Victoria activist, longtime Cannabis Buyers Club. That smells good. Thanks, Victoria. What's that? Oh, I'll have a bong hit of it. Yes, I would love a bong toke. I just need a bong now. So yeah.
Happy 420.
Happy 420, says Jody. Thanks, Jody. That's nice.
You're welcome. Well, it's good to have nice people in the world.
It is. And Jody, Victoria, what am I smoking? What am I smoking? What is this?
Memory.
Can't remember.
It's called memory.
It's called memory.
It's good though.
It's whatever it is. She says it's good. It looks good. Oh, okay. That's good. It smells delicious. I should have showed it off in the bud cam, but now I've basically trashed it. So sorry, bud cam folks, bud cam lovers. You're out on that one. So, yeah, today on the show, Ted and Owen, if they do show up, I wanted to have... Ted's very cool, and when he's in town... Ted, of course, is the publisher now of Cannabis Digest, and whenever Ted's in town dropping off issues of Cannabis Digest, we try and have him on the show. Jody there, 28 dabs later, says hi.
Hi.
And John recognized Duchess.
I also sent you some graphics for our contest.
Oh, yes. Kylie told me about that. That's very cool for the... our sale, which is fantastic. 2 for 1. Okay, I'm going to hit Duchess now. Since it's 420, I'm a little late, but... Johnny B, what you doing back there? He's got an IV with terps, isolated terps, and then the IV, and it just goes straight into his vein.
Straight in.
Oh. Happy 422.
Happy
So,
420.
Johnny boy. So, oh my goodness. I also wanted to recognize our sponsors one more time here. Crop King, amazing sponsor. But also, the guy sitting right behind me here, Johnny, Medtainer Canada, Burfellow, threw in a good chunk of cash for the studio. Medtainer helped us out a lot. And we couldn't do it without you, Johnny boy. So it's nice to have you on the sponsors list saying Medtainer Canada as much as possible. And also on the list, Sublimator, our good friends at Sublimator, the Karma Cup, and 3 Happy Cats. Can't forget all of those folks. Got to drop the names. So Johnny, we got you back there. We can only see a small portion of your Dr. Evil looking head at the moment. There you go. Now, there we go. Now, there we go. Look at that handsome mug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call our friends over at the Windsor Higher Limits Lounge. This is a medical marijuana lounge in Windsor, Ontario. And I'm not sure if we're going to talk to John or Alex. We were going to do a Skype thing with them, but they couldn't get their Skype worked out. And it looks that's okay because ours doesn't look like we have the greatest connection with Johnny on this all the time. So Johnny, are you still hearing us okay and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. If we'll
I can hear you trying to read that.
Yeah, we're trying to read your lips. Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
I don't know why the Skype connection is not very good, but it does happen. Oh. We lost him now completely. But I'm not sure. Well, it was nice to have him back there anyways. I wasn't trying to get rid of him. Okay, here we go. Johnny. All right, brother man. How you doing?
Is that bad?
Yeah, you look okay there. We can see you quite nicely. You look crisp.
I feel fantastic.
And so, Johnny, if you can quickly tell people what it was that you had done.
I went into the hospital exactly 7 days ago today to have a posterior lyectomy, C4 with a C3 to C5 fusion. So what that is, and once I got into surgery, I did a C3, C4, C5 lyectomy. So they basically took out my C4 and C5 vertebrae from my rear, and they fused me between the C3 to the C6, and then from the front, I'm already plated between the C5 and C7. And really, guys, after 11 years of living in severe pain and really understanding pain and waking up and that pain being gone, I really realized, because now that I'm out of this pain from the surgery, cannabis was the most important part of my being able to maintain and being able to have a better quality of life for all those years, which everybody around me saw from the beginning of my injuries, from being published on standardized natural cannabis and pain management, to going on to educating people on cannabis and amino acids and how it helped me every day. From the surgeon seeing inside of my spinal cord itself, they said my spinal cord was so compressed and so damaged, they were surprised I was walking.
Wow.
The inflammation from everything that I've eaten was probably keeping the pressure down on my column, and that's why my knees and my legs burn so bad. But I mean, overall, I went for a surgery, and the surgery was to get pressure off the spinal cord, because my spinal cord had been flattened and it was diffused around the C5. And the biggest fear is when they took the vertebrae off, when my spinal cord inflated, would it cause any more damage? Well, it didn't, guys. And I can now truly say, after coming out of surgery, using cannabis before and after, I'm going to save some money now, because my cannabis has diminished by 50%. I'm not getting up and doing 4 or 5 or 6 bond tokes in a row to get me that quality that I needed to kind of move around. I said this morning, I did a nice big bong rip with some rosin and some turp dip, and I got high. I was able to enjoy it. It wasn't needing for that pain control that I've been going through. So, I mean, all in all, I still got lots of recovery to do, but that's what happened, guys. You know what? As everybody knows, I grow my own medicine. I talk about cannabis as a medicine and how it helped me every day, and it still does. And after surgery, coming out of that pain and knowing how much cannabis truly was my medicine, and being able to feel that, like I said, you don't know what it's like to be free. I'm free of pain, and cannabis helped me get through that pain, but it never took it away. So, but overall,
Yeah, Johnny.
I could talk forever about how great this medicine is, and how the surgery saved me and stuff like that, and the good people at the Brennan McLean Spinal Research Center, the Rick Hansen Spinal Cord Research Center, I-Cord. The Spinal Center at VGH is one of the best spinal centers here in Canada, and from what I understand, in North America, Western North America. So, I mean, if people who are suffering, we have a great facility here that's helping patients every day. They don't do it. They do it for one reason, to help, because they hate seeing people in pain, just like how we try to educate people on cannabis and have this plant free, because we know how much it helps. It's good stuff, guys.
Cool, man. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Johnny. And you're a very good advocate for our cause and that form of medicine. And I'm glad you're feeling better, man. I can't wait to have you back in studio, but this is nice. You know, at least we can have you here digitally. So
just so you know, every 6 weeks I'm shaving the head now.
Oh, we still don't have the video, so there's a video of this head shaving going on. We're trying to acquire that video to play it on the show for you guys. Have yet to been able to do that, really. So as soon as we get our hands on it, you guys will see it. Oh, and look who we have in the house. Mr. Ted Smith is here.
Email right now. I might be able to send it.
Ted is here in the house. So we're gonna bring Ted Smith on very soon. Ted, how you doing? But not quite yet because I have to do a quick interview with the guys at the Windsor Higher Limits Lounge. So we're gonna call in the Windsor folks. But you can come in and sit down and chill with us, Ted, anytime you want. I got a chair here. Did you bring Owen with you today? Oh, no, Owen. He bailed. Oh, that's okay. I thought it was gonna be the Smith twins. No relation. So, of course, Ted Smith. Now, anybody who watches this show on the regular knows Mr. Ted Smith. Good to have you here, brother. Give me a hug, man. Good to see ya. You know, I have nothing but love for you, man. Ted is one of the most effective activists in this country for a long, long time now. Been doing amazing work on behalf of the cannabis plant. And it's good to have you in studio, man. I already talked about Cannabis Digest a little bit, and when you come to drop off some...
I didn't even bring one.
You didn't bring one? Oh, that's okay.
There's one over there.
Oh, well, we can grab one. Somebody.
Victoria's got one.
Victoria's got a Cannabis Digest. Yeah. She does have one. All right, let's show this off. And hopefully your mic is on okay. Everything's good with the mic there? Alyssa's doing some sound work for us. So there's the latest issue of Cannabis Digest. Amazing newspaper here. Physical, real, actual stuff you can hold in your hand. Oh, and it's got a beautiful Christmas picture going on here. I like it. Cool, man. So, Ted, tell us about the latest issue of Cannabis Digest.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got a wide range of stories, quite a few of them about dispensaries. Dispensaries are a pretty hot topic these days. So, Jamie Shaw, who's the president of CAMCD, the Canadian Association of Medical Cannabis Dispensaries.
That's right, friend of the show.
She wrote a piece about dispensary owners and some of the challenges dispensaries face. Kind of complementing that, I wrote an article about preparing for police raids because I've found a lot of times these dispensaries are getting raided and the employees and the management don't seem to have a clue what they're doing and how to react or how to recover. And
Yeah.
you know, that's been really sad for me, and my store has gone through 4 police raids at the store and 1 in the bakery, and I thought to share some of my experience from that. And so,
Well, people need it, as you say. I mean, it's happening. Look what happened to the Goodwins, and
Yeah.
this is going on all over the place.
and that sweep in Nanaimo and all the
Yeah.
clubs got raided there. That was
16
pretty
people
scary.
arrested in Nanaimo?
Yeah.
It's craziness. So they're not, the cops aren't through with us yet, apparently.
No, not at all.
But that's great to hear. So, and of course, as you said, Ted, you've been through a lot of this stuff before, so there's a lot of insights you can provide to people about this. And same with Owen too. The bakery case. You guys are just fresh out of this, and yeah, I mean, you guys were effective at actually changing the laws in this case.
It's been pretty phenomenal to have changed the Canadian law and really changed the way the medical establishment looks at cannabis as medicine, because before our court case, they wrote it off as something people had to smoke, and they refused to endorse that. Oh, sorry, they refused to at all endorse the smoking of cannabis quite often.
Yeah.
And so it was something that our court case took away the doctor's #1 argument for prescribing or not prescribing cannabis as medicine.
Right.
And so we had a huge impact on the medical community that day with our decision, which was really awesome for us. But it also, I think, had a huge impact on Canadians because they could see after 15 years of a medical marijuana program, our government still had it completely ass backwards.
Totally. Well, look at the government, you know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was something that even the most conservative person, I think, had a problem with only being able to smoke it. So, yeah, it really exposed, I think, the flaws of Health Canada's thinking from the beginning, and really put a big push behind dispensaries. That's why I think so many dispensaries have both opened and been tolerated, because the public's come to see that the government and these licensed producers aren't providing the kinds of products that patients really need, and that's,
Yeah.
So it's been great for dispensaries, it's been great for patients, it's been phenomenal to be a part of.
Well, I want to talk to you about what's going on in Victoria on the dispensary level and about the city council and everything that's happening there. But I did want to bring in the guys from Windsor.
Yeah,
here real
get those
quick.
guys on.
Get these guys on the line. But what I'm going to need to do is, just so we don't run out of juice, I'm going to make sure this is all plugged in. Hold on one sec. And so maybe, Ted, there's probably a little bit more in here. Do you want to tell people maybe just briefly while I plug this in about what else you got in this issue?
Okay, Well, you mentioned Owen. He does the graphic design and puts the newspaper together. He actually just did a trip to Ireland, just a personal trip, but he wrote a really awesome story about what's happening or not happening in Ireland. They're not nearly as progressive as we are, but still it's interesting to see the movement, as it were, in a country like that. We have a nice article by Dr. David Allen. He's a doctor from the United States, but he writes actually to the Mexican government about cannabis and the endocannabinoid system. And I often feel like my newspaper should be printing more than news, that it really needs to give some good in-depth medical information about how cannabis interacts with the human body. And so Dr. Allen, in a really short article, does a great job explaining how endocannabinoids work, not only in humans, but in other mammals. And in particular, he looked at the mechanisms that mammals use that hibernate, because apparently the mechanisms in our body that we use to put, or mammals use to put themselves into hibernation, it's the endocannabinoids that trigger that. And this is why cannabis and the chemicals in it, the endocannabinoids, may in fact be the fountain of life, because they may help us, in a very chemical way,
right,
keep ourselves from burning out and help them regenerate. So,
well, you've talked about this for a few years now, I think, since some of this research came out. But yes, this cannabinoid deficiency syndrome idea,
yeah,
that if we really do need this plant, and it actually helps us, it provides us with something that's naturally in our system anyways. But something that we have receptors for at the very least, and which there's probably evidence that we have in some way co-evolved with on that level. I mean, they've looked at this in the past, and this whole idea of cannabis-human coevolution. I think it's a real thing. These plants, they can help us in all kinds of ways and provide us with, just like food or other nutrients that we need, they can provide us with things that our body actually really needs. So, I think it's time to stop looking at cannabis like it's some poison for our system. We have the local politicians here wanting to put it in the hands of the liquor stores and treat it like it's just a product like liquor, where we tolerate it, but it's a poison for your system. I'm not sure that's true. I don't think that's true about cannabis. I think it's more like we see people use it for medicine. So if it's really good for people on a medical level, how could it be so bad for people in regular life? It doesn't make much sense. But okay, we're gonna call these guys now. And well, that's cool about the Ireland thing too. I'm interested to read that article actually. Ireland, I mean, they've kind of been a little bit more conservative in the past on the issue.
Oh, and still are, but there's people fighting for the good fight there, and it's neat because you don't hear much of what's happening in Ireland or a lot of other smaller countries. Owen went down to Costa Rica a couple of years ago and did a story about that. And, yeah, but it's true that people all around the world are doing whatever they can to make this plant more accessible to them as a food, as medicine, and so it's really neat. Oh,
hello, Alex, you there?
Jeremiah, how are you?
I'm good, and maybe Alyssa, you just work on that sound so we can hear him in house here properly.
Okay.
My friend, how you doing?
Doing well.
Good to hear you.
Nice busy night here.
Yeah. Now. I have you on hooked up to the system here, so the chatter's out there. If you guys can't hear, now is this Alex?
Yeah, this is Alex.
Alex, good to hear from you. If you can't hear Alex properly, chatters, please let us know in the chat. We'll try and tune it up for you. But Alex,
yeah, there's a little bit of an echo.
A little bit of an echo going on. Okay, yeah. If you guys have any TV or stuff on, it sounds good on our end here, so we can hear you pretty good. So
okay, that's good then.
Alex, how is Windsor? How is the lounge that you guys have? This is an amazing achievement that you guys have here. This is a massive lounge, you were telling me. And so far, so good, right? No trouble from anyone.
No, it's been a positive, overwhelming response. We've actually been surprised at how well things have been going, to be honest with you.
Yeah, now, you guys, this was a big launch. It was in the press. The media came out for this. The actual it did make international news now.
Yeah, at this point, coast to coast in the States. We decided to go big. We had Kenny and Spenny come down and do a massive live show. We figured we're opening this in kind of sorry?
Oh no, that's people in the room. That's okay. We have a crowd here. Tune that down just a bit. Yeah, we have a crowd here in the room at 307 West Hastings in the Pod TV studio. So if you hear some background noise, it's probably our crowd. So crowders, keep it quiet. But yeah, so you were telling me earlier that, I mean, you guys are saying this is one of the biggest lounges, if not the biggest lounge in the country. Tell us about the space itself.
Sure. So it used to be called Venue Nightclub. It was, in fact, a big nightclub, and its purpose was to put on shows. So anyway, some stage, you know, a large bar and whatnot. The place was designed back in the 90s, so it has, you know, the ventilators to take out smoking. It's a wonderful place.
It looks cool from the pictures I saw. And
yeah, we're gonna be.
Go ahead.
So yeah, we're gonna be posting some more up. You know, it's above a couple restaurants too, so there's all that lovely, you know, features as well.
Now the newspapers were there, but how did the community react to it? Your neighbors and everybody like that?
Everyone was a little bit, you know, unsure at first, but you know, our neighbors seem to love us. You know, obviously we're surrounded by a lot of restaurants, and that, you know, seems to go hand in hand. And we're bringing in, you know, people into the downtown core that normally don't come. For probably most of the viewers who are not familiar with Windsor, Windsor downtown is very unique in that almost, you know, most of our bars are literally on one single strip. So there's kind of a very singular market here. And we're finding that we're bringing in people who just never before came downtown.
Right now, this is just strictly a medical lounge. I kind of fumbled at the beginning of the show saying that you guys were a dispensary, but you're not a dispensary. You're a medical lounge.
No, we're not a dispensary. We're like a classic vapor lounge, as you would find, I'm sure, all over Vancouver and, of course, in Toronto and stuff like that, too. It's a bring-your-own cannabis lounge. You know, no selling, and typically that, too. No alcohol, no tobacco. You know, the business model is pretty standard. We do, you know, offer... you know, a lot of extra fun services. We've got, you know, tons of video game consoles. We rent bongs, that type of thing, arcade games.
Yeah, so, and you guys haven't had any, as you said, there's been nobody that's caused you any problems at this point. Have you heard from the police? Have they been by to visit or anything like that?
No, you know, the police statement was that they're going to be work on a complaint basis, and, you know, they don't really have any problem with us, as long as we're following the rules. You know, we've had a few by law enforcement officers come by with some questions and who may have not been particularly sure of some things. But overall, no, we've just been very much welcomed. Maybe questioned a little bit, but we haven't had anybody come out and force or anything.
Well,
I think that's, you know, a good statement maybe about where culturally we're at in this country.
What about the ashtray situation?
Oh, that was pretty funny, actually. We had the local tobacco enforcement board come in and tell us we weren't allowed to use ashtrays. We found that was just very odd, and we were saying, well, okay, we don't really have tobacco in here, that's fine. And they were saying, well, it doesn't really matter, any form of ash. And, you know, this kind of brought into a lot of questions. Well, what does that really mean? Are you going to go ticket a crematorium? If I have incense burning, is that ash too? And, you know, so anyway, we decided to comply. We're not going to cause any problems. But, you know, we called some other health boards, put it in the news, and lo and behold, a few days later, we were told we can now have candy bowls to put our marijuana refuse in. So we said, sure, we'll take it.
Okay, so you're allowed something to put it in at least, but it's not quite an ashtray. Well, and actually, this is so hilarious that High Times picked up the story as well, didn't they?
Well, that seems to be the main story. I mean, we're just, you know, that seems to be the main thing everybody's talking about, and I can understand why. It's ridiculous when you really think about it.
Yeah, and any people in the chat are saying Pam McCall is probably trying to call on you guys. Oh, yes, there's lots of troublemakers out there, but it's good to hear that you guys have at least, you know, you're still open and no real problems, ashtrays aside. But now I saw, it was funny because High Times picked up the story about the ashtrays, and then the Windsor Star picked up the story about High Times picking up the story.
Yeah, I guess, well, yeah, that's what's interesting too. Well, the funny part is, honestly, on our end, is that the issue's been resolved for like a week now. So, you know, on our end, it's good, but it's all good press.
Great, man. Now, you were saying that it's just super busy there already. What's the population of Windsor? Or, like, is this a big? I should know this
Well,
stuff,
yeah,
but
Windsor's not a particularly big city. We have 220,000 people, 300,000 when you throw in all the counties and the surrounding areas. So we're not by any means a large metropolitan area, at least, but by Canadian standards. And that's kind of one of the messages we want to get out is, communities like this can have places like this. You don't have to be in, Vancouver to open a vapor lounge.
right. There's a lot of pot smokers everywhere. And, we have in Nanaimo, just across the way here, there's a vapor lounge there, and there's a lot of places opening in smaller towns all over the place. So, yeah, it's nice to see people are going out on a bit of a limb here. Because, of course, there's always the chance that something could happen. So, we
agree with you, too, but, we literally the other partners, we kind of, the day after Trudeau won, and we thought, well, you know what, now's the time, because it's going to happen, and we'd rather be part of the discussion than, listen to the guys who started it first.
No kidding, man. Well, that's good to hear. So, now, do you guys plan, I know, of course, we're moving into a legalization atmosphere in the future for recreational. Is this something that you guys would consider, or do you want to remain a medical place? Have you considered this at all?
Oh, well, by all means, we wish to capitalize on, the changing, political tides and laws. Absolutely, we wish, would be very interested in going to full recreational. I personally hope that we have a model similar to that of Colorado where, private enterprise can really take hold. Tours and bakeries and all kinds of things like that. So I do hope that, our government looks at those models and doesn't try and over-regulate this new industry.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Windsor City Council, there's a councillor there who has been calling for the regulation of what you guys are doing there, and probably for other marijuana-related businesses in the city. Can you tell us what he's advocating?
Sure, yeah, no, that was Councillor Bordelin. We're very proud of that statement, actually. It says that, the city wants to adapt to new business as opposed to try and, fight it. He simply just said that, as more of these businesses come in, the city should develop regulations for it. There is no vapor lounge business license, and we're waiting for the city to make one for us.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a similar situation here in Vancouver, and you've got the city council now sticking their nose in it. So I'm not sure that's always such a good idea or not. But did he?
Well, it's a little bit different with you guys. You guys have too many, and I think that's where the regulation's coming from. Ours is maybe started kind of as a.
Well, that's good to hear him. Now, has there been any movement on that? Has he moved forward with anything, or does the rest of the city council support it in any way?
No one really seems to be addressing it too much. It doesn't seem to be a hot topic issue, which, is fine for us at the moment, too. Just the fact that the city councilor for our ward, that was his opinion. We were just quite happy with that. We're in no rush to push the city in any particular direction.
Mm-hmm. And now, do you guys have some dispensaries in the city of Windsor, don't you?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
There's none.
The closest dispensary probably in this part of the country would, honestly, probably Toronto. There may be
There's one in London.
One south, possibly in London, or I don't know. But as far as I know, the only ones are up in Toronto in southwestern Ontario. Now, they're popping up there like every other day. But out here, I think lounges are still the Wild West.
Mm-hmm. But I'm assuming there's head shops. When I looked up some Windsor pot stores, and I found a couple others, but I guess that's just selling bongs and stuff.
Yeah, I've owned, there was only two for a while. I owned one of the other ones, Endless Heights. But, there was one downtown, Pete's Pipes, but there's really not too many out here, too. It's, the industry's really still in its infancy down here.
Well, it's great to see you guys, pushing forward and making it happen there, man. Very cool. If I get the chance, I'd love to come and visit you there in Windsor next time I'm in Ontario. And anybody out there in Ontario?
If you want to do a show, we've got the equipment, we got the room. We'll get the audience, too.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate having you on the show, my friend. Alex from Higher Limits in Windsor, Ontario. If you guys are in Windsor, make sure to check the place out. And it's not that far of a drive from Toronto, a few hours. Tour on down there. A lot of Toronto potheads could make the trip. Thanks a lot, Alex. Great having you on. We'll have you on again soon.
Thank you for having me. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, you too. And so, I forgot to get him to give us if they have a website address, but you can definitely find it. Higher Limits on Facebook. Just type that in and you'll find it for sure. That's where I found their Facebook page with all the info about the place. So yeah, Ted, that's very cool to see. You know, there's so much going on in the pot industry now. It's hard to keep track of all of it.
It's pretty much impossible to keep track of it all. You have to pick your niche and try and stay on top of that, you know, a certain area or particular kind of business. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, it's happening far too fast now. It used to be, you know, 20 years ago, you know, there'd be like a new face in the movement every month in the country.
Yeah, I know. Or like in the news stories, you get them few and far between from the mainstream, and then all of a sudden it's like the mainstream has their own pot publications now, and you know, like the Cannabis, or it's just off the charts. And there's new movements happening, not just here in Canada, obviously, but in every state across the U.S., essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually given up on the United States and trying to keep up on it.
Yeah.
It's so hard to even keep up on my own life right now, let alone the U.S., because it's just going crazy. It's phenomenal.
So, and maybe Ted, tell us about, I'm having you here on the show. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about today, since you did come down to the show in particular? You know, you and I didn't have the chance to really have much of a conversation before, so.
Well, you touched on it, really. The licensing that the City of Victoria is engaging with dispensaries right now is a very important topic for us.
Yeah.
Even though Victoria announced right after Vancouver that they were going to do this, they've been dragging their feet quite a bit. And so now there's like 34 dispensaries in Victoria.
Wow.
And so, you know, if they would have actually like drawn a line in the sand 6 months ago, like Vancouver tried to, they would have stopped that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like to think that, like, is there around 100 still over here? 120?
120 to 40.
100, okay. But
Yeah.
like, so we've got a quarter of the number that you guys, the 10th the population.
Yeah. Oh
Right?
man, that's a
So,
lot.
you
And they
know,
said, I saw their
it's-
news article saying per capita, Victoria's off the charts.
Well, yeah, the Victoria News tried to say that the Czech News that Victoria had more than anywhere else in the country per capita, which is wrong, actually. First, Nelson stuck their hand up and said, no, we got 5 here in Nelson. And then, believe it or not, Port Alberni
Right.
with 5 in Port Alberni
It's very small there.
came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I didn't know there was 5. I
And,
thought there was
you
only
know,
3, but wow.
They just waited for McMahon to leave, I guess. And
Well, I was talking to Mick. Mick is like kind of like feeling proud because he had a lot to do with the whole pot thing in
yeah.
Port Alberni. He's known as the pot guy there. He ran for the BC or the marijuana party twice in a couple different runs.
yeah, well over a decade. And
Yeah.
so he really should be proud of what that city's doing now.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to go make a trip just visiting dispensaries in Nanaimo for the day.
I
Like,
know
that's-
the island's off. It's just off the hook, man. Even in Nanaimo, like
Yeah,
you could-
Nanaimo's got 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, the island has really embraced it, which is something that you know, we're all quite proud of. To think that the police have backed off, and now actually after 20 years, you know, our biggest problem in this movement aren't the police, they aren't the politicians. It's licensed producers and the turncoats that used to set up dispensaries that are now working for these guys that are trying to shut down dispensaries. For, you know, so you know, it's really ironic that it's changed that way. But certainly the police and the communities are ready to license dispensaries and have them operate on the streets. And
Yeah, it's disappointing
So-
to see the people at Tweed or
well,
whoever.
Tilray too on the island, right? They're telling the Nanaimo Council to shut down and raid these dispensaries and throw people in jail.
I didn't hear this.
Yeah. Oh
Wow.
yeah, it's nasty over there. It's
Wow.
nasty over
And that's
there.
our friend Philippe Lucas over there.
Well, maybe not my friend, but
Wow.
yeah. So
Well, that's really sad to hear. So, and they've actually
you know?
now they said this to the police. They put out a press release or something.
Oh,
that said
they've
this?
been saying this for months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Close the dispensary.
Shut them down.
And so this is what.
and that's what the mayor of
CEO
Vancouver says. We're lucky because the council in Nanaimo.
Nanaimo.
Yeah, the Nanaimo City Council is supportive. They're actually passing something to regulate dispensaries in Nanaimo. But the mayor in Vancouver is totally behind Tilray.
The mayor in Nanaimo.
Or Nanaimo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
The mayor in Nanaimo wants to
having the same
shut
problem.
down all the dispensaries and have Tilray run the show.
Yeah. Well,
So it's
that's a
really
shame.
nasty over on the island in a way with Tilray in particular.
Wow.
But
These
yeah,
LPs,
tweed and,
why do
you
they
know,
think they're going to get away with this? Do they really believe that people are going to
and I
support
shouldn't
this
bash
idea?
all the LPs because they're the minority, but
Right.
they're the big guys.
Well, they have this union
And-
of a bunch of them together now, and their
Yeah.
their spokesperson is coming out, and she is saying similar things that everybody
Yeah.
should be shut down.
Yeah.
And we have the Tweed CEO coming out and saying this kind of thing. So
Yeah.
no, it's irresponsible. That's where people get their medicine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you profiteers, but this is wrong. You're calling for places where people are legitimately getting medicine to be shut down,
Yeah.
and it's for greedy purposes.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, it's because, we know how to take care of it. Do you think that these patients would go there and continue to go there if they were suffering in some way or getting hurt by the medicine?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
You know, like our club.
Weed is not dangerous.
We just celebrated our 20-year anniversary. You know, we've not sent anybody to the hospital.
No.
Nobody's reported, like, there's been a few negative consequences. I won't say there haven't been.
Right.
Pot isn't for everybody. And when you're dealing with seriously ill people, sometimes you have
Of course.
negative responses. You know, and sometimes you do find mold or whatever, but certainly, you know, we're doing our very best to manage that.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's something that, you know, they can't just, you know, justify it by saying that we have unsafe pot. There's no proof of that.
Yeah.
You know, so they're just making these arguments up, and it's very frustrating. Another one that actually we're fighting in Victoria is over safe inhalation sites.
Right.
Because they've already done it to Vancouver. They started licensed dispensaries, but they're not allowed to consume it on the site. Now, how absurd is that? Now, you guys are lucky over here. You have a vapor lounge.
Yeah.
They even have one in Windsor.
Yeah.
We don't have one in Victoria.
Yeah.
The only place for patients or anybody to go is a small little room, half this size, that we've created. It's like a refugee center for patients, right? It's not big enough, but it's something.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to take that away.
The vapor lounge is illegal.
I
That's
know it's
true.
illegal, and there's a
Neil
fight
reminding us
going
that the
on.
vapor lounge is illegal here, but we've been here for so long, and the
Yeah.
police are not shutting us down, and they're not going to.
It doesn't seem that way.
No.
But certainly, you know, patients don't have that alternative. And so we're actually, like, I am president of the International Hempology 101 Society, and if the Vapor Lounge gets shut down in the Buyers Club, we're going to rent another space and open up a vapor lounge, whether it's an illegal one or we get a license or an exemption somehow from the city. But we think there needs to be, if not one in our club, a standalone place so that if patients don't want to be around the smoke or there's an employee that doesn't want to be around it in the dispensary, fine.
Right. Yeah.
We'll make one. We'll run it by volunteers, so workers' compensation can't touch it, nothing. It'll be a volunteer-run center. Our plan is to actually get a couple $100 from each of the dispensaries every month, and then their members get to use it for free.
Cool.
So that way the patients have a safe place and it doesn't cost them. 'Cause
Right.
Our patients in particular, like, they don't have the money to go every day to a vapor lounge, but they can't smoke at home either, so they need a place to go.
Well, it's just so brutal that they make all these smoking bylaws. You can't smoke in apartments. Where are you supposed to go? You can't smoke it in the park. You can't smoke it here. You can't smoke it there. It's like, no, it's just wrong. It really, it's a form of prohibition itself because they've stigmatized smoking itself.
Yeah.
And so where do they expect you have all these dispensaries and nowhere to smoke? So, that's wrong.
So February 22nd, the city of Victoria is having their first open house. It's not a public hearing like you guys had. I'd prefer that.
They don't listen anyways.
Yeah. Well,
They don't
they have
give
their minds made up going into these things.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But we're certainly working with our members to be there in force on the 22nd, to thank them for the license, but say that we're going to fight for this smoking room. And if it's not where it is, then we're going to just rent another space and fight for it there.
Are they banning edibles as well?
Well, that's another interesting issue because we worked very hard. I've got a really good relationship with the council. I wrote a couple of blogs for the Cannabis Digest, and it seems as though, and I should give a lot of credit to Dieter McPherson, the new president and executive director of the Buyers Club. It seems as though our city is going to adapt the CAMCD rules for edibles and not ban them entirely. So they'll have to be, packaged and labeled so that you can't see the cookie from the outside, kind of thing. So, that there aren't people attracted to eating it just because, oh, there's a Rice Krispie square kind of thing, right? So they want to have, different packaging and labeling and stuff according to what, the industry, CAMCD, has said, for medical products, it should be done right. So I'm pretty sure that while the initial report came out saying that they wanted to follow the Vancouver rules, we've changed them to this other direction, and it seems as though we're going to be able to open up the first commercial bakery in Canada that'll be fully licensed
Cool,
if we keep going. So that's partly why the Buyers Club doesn't want to really, piss on the council for the smoking room when
Right.
It seems like they're agreeing to that. The other big one that they may concede to that's different than Vancouver is deliveries and mail order. We've convinced them that mail order and deliveries are critical. In fact, it's so ironic that the federal government says mail orders is the only safe way, and then the local government comes out and says mail orders is not safe at all. They're just
Bizarre.
absurd. But more importantly, my club started with deliveries. Meeting patients in their homes and helping them out, and so I think in some of the blogs and that I wrote, it became clear to the council that they couldn't just stop us from delivering medicine to patients in hospitals and that were otherwise trapped in their homes. So, I think that we've been able to break them on that one as well. I haven't seen the minutes and stuff, so I'm a little hesitant to say, yeah, we've done it, but I'm pretty sure those ones we have for sure. And so the smoking one is the last one that we really got to break them on. I'd like to fight them on the 300 meters apart and 300 meters from school sort of stuff too,
Right.
but in a way, you
pick your battles.
You got to pick your battles, and certainly from our club's perspective, we're not being affected by the other rules, so we're gonna fight for the one that we are affected by.
Right, it's not going to shut you guys down. But that's the problem here in Vancouver. Things are a little tense with that 300-meter limit because there's 140 dispensaries. They can't all fit within those coordinates. And being close to school, we have some really old dispensaries that are very close to schools. But we do have this board of variance process where they can actually go and appeal. Hopefully they'll, get through on that level, especially the ones that have been around for, 10 years plus.
Oh, to think the BC Compassion Club might have to move? It's just the most absurd
And
thing.
they're friends with the school next door. They've always had a great relationship with all their neighbors.
Yeah.
So, no, it wouldn't be fair. But, it's funny that the city makes these rules that kind of snare everyone in this weird system they set up. But they don't, I guess they have this board of variance, so hopefully they'll work on that. But it seems like they just kind of band-aided the situation very quickly rather than putting any real thought into how it should work and just kind of slap it on there and see what happens. And, even admitted by some counselors like Melissa DeGenova, who is now calling to scrap them all. But she, she's obviously doing this for political reasons because she says she supports medical marijuana dispensaries, but then calls for them all to be shut down temporarily while we sort it out.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really make a hell of a lot of sense.
No, and then the next frustrating part is this whole legalization, campaign or movement by the federal government in some sense, because they're delegating it to the provincial governments for the most part, from what I see.
Yeah.
And you got some provinces saying they're not going to legalize it at all. And then you got BC and potentially Ontario saying that they're going to put it in the hands of the BCGU and private liquor stores, essentially saying that they're going to raid and shut down all the dispensaries so that it can be taken over by someone else. And so for me and for many other people, the great danger with this legalization scheme is it's the end of medical marijuana. A lot of doctors support legalization because they don't want to prescribe marijuana as medicine. They don't think it's a medicine.
Right.
So when it's legally available for everybody, you won't have to go to a doctor. It's not a restricted drug at all.
But as we've seen...
So there'll be no medical marijuana programs then at that point. You won't be getting it subsidized. You won't be able to grow anymore if you're a patient.
See, but that's the wrong approach because it is a medicine. Hopefully what will happen is, we see exactly what you're talking about in the state of Washington, where they've really screwed that all up.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing a backlash to that, I think, as well. So hopefully there will be some balance there.
Yeah.
But, because there are so many people that use it for medical purposes, they should be allowed to get medical insurance to cover it and other things.
My lover Gail would be dead without it, like a long time ago now.
Yeah.
And we could never afford the amount of medicine that we're being given for her. Like, she's eating between $200 to $300 a day in cannabis oil.
Right.
And if we weren't who we were and have so many friends and people supporting us and the Buyers Club too, she'd be dead a long time ago.
Yeah.
She'd never be able to afford that.
Well, and I think there is some movement on that side. Companies are now allowing for this to happen, or there's some movement. But I'm not sure. I'm not entirely convinced that the medical program will be completely erased if we have legal. But you can see some people are pushing towards that.
Yeah.
That's how the liquor store people would like to see it.
Yeah.
Can I comment here too?
Neil Magnuson, please do.
Yeah,
Neil.
I mean, this is the time, folks,
Neil
that
can.
that it's most important to do something for legalization, because this is the time when they're going to devise these rules for legalization. We've already got it to the point where they're going to do it, but I'm recommending everybody get a hold of whoever they can that's in those positions of influence. Write your letters. I just finished writing my letter to the Attorney General, the Justice Minister of Canada, and hand-delivered it to her office yesterday. And everybody should be writing letters to these people and telling them what their thoughts are about growing for ourselves and getting subsidies for medical patients and all these issues that are now, front and center and going to be decided on. Now's the time to get busy and do some of that and get on those people for sure.
Definitely, Neil. We need everybody's help on this one. And, it helps to get it from every side. So this is, I think there's a lot of good things happening. Obviously, we have a government that is recognizing that pot needs to be legalized. But now's this vital period. There's this window right now where if we don't, put what we want forward, there's going to be powerful forces that get what they want.
We're going to be fighting for more years on,
Yeah.
Like
Exactly, because once they instill some of these things, it's hard to remove what they do. And that even goes for the government itself, trying to undo what Stephen Harper's done. It's hard to just all of a sudden wave a wand and that all disappears. They have to, nuts and bolts, get in there and operate on the legislation and so on and so forth. So, and that's what they're saying, and they seem to be dragging their feet on this rather than doing what Jody and others have suggested, putting a moratorium on arrests. Why are we still arresting people for pot if we're going to have legal pot? If the government admits that it's...
And judges are throwing out possession charges because of it, but they're still charging people even though...
Every 54 seconds, apparently.
Yeah, it's crazy. Every 54 seconds, Neil says. So, no, it's wrong. And hopefully, Justin himself, even while he was running for election, noted that when he was elected, he'd like to overturn previous convictions or expunge records. And he said there's a process to do this, and we'll start on it right away, kind of thing. But they're not starting on it right away. But, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. No, I have a real fear that the medical marijuana program will essentially be abolished when they make it legal for everybody. Certainly that's the way pharmaceutical companies would like to see it, so that, if people are using cannabis, they're at least paying for it.
Exactly.
They see this as a cash grab. That's what the province, everybody's talking about the money. You don't hear anything about patients anymore.
No, you never, whenever the government people talk about this, they say, oh, the stakeholders, it's the police, like addiction people. How do these people have anything really to do with it? It's patients. That's why we have the medical program, and it's citizens who want to use it and be allowed to use it. So, it's a strange thing. Ted, if you were put in charge, what is the dream situation? What is the dream system for you with legal cannabis here in Canada? What would you like to see?
Well, I haven't really put my mind to it entirely, but I'd certainly like to see, essentially a two-tiered system where obviously, recreational users should be able to purchase and grow, what limits there would be, and I think, it's somewhat reasonable to assume there'd be limits, somewhat like there is for tobacco. There's laws about how many kilograms a year I think you can grow. It's like 15. I realize that, Neil. But it's something that I could see having some sort of limit, 20, 25 plants per person. But in a way that doesn't make much sense either for people that are growing seasonally, because you can't just grow an outdoor crop with 25 plants and expect it to last the year.
Right.
So 50 might be more reasonable. And then, have a easy system for people to get licenses to sell it, so that they could sell it to stores or sell it at, farmers markets and stuff like that. And then, have a medical system that patients are subsidized if it's recommended for them to be using it by a doctor, so that it gets paid for, so that patients that are seriously ill can have not only their medicines paid for, but get some specialized medicines that aren't necessarily available to the general public, because most of us wouldn't have any use for non-psychoactive edible and topical products.
Right.
Whereas a lot of patients would want access to them. So there's no use like stocking every pot store with a whole bunch of, rarely used
Well,
CBG and
That's
different
true.
products.
But I mean, wouldn't those things work for standard everyday pain in certain ways as well? Like, how Tylenol, people buy over-the-counter Tylenol for your day-to-day aches and pains as well. It doesn't have to be like a full-time, like your back is out or something situation.
Recreational users would be able to go and buy things because
Yeah.
cannabis does all that. I'm
Yeah,
talking
it
like
helps
very
too.
specific products like salves for glaucoma.
Right.
Or
Like a
suppositories
pharmaceutical
for
is dealt
cancer,
with.
there'd be a bunch of products that you just wouldn't bother putting in every store because
Right.
people wouldn't be buying them very often.
I gotcha, of course.
Just very specialized medical products.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're going to see a wide range of all of that stuff. You over the counter and the very more specific, heavy duty stuff targeting very specific things. And we've already got that going on, I think, right now with people isolating the terps and doing all these kinds of things. There's like the science of cannabis is really, now that the stigma is being removed, there's a lot more people who are into this kind of stuff digging in.
Oh, that's for sure. Pandora's box has been opened here, so
Yeah.
genie's out of the bottle.
Definitely. Ted, I really appreciate
sir.
you coming on today.
Oh, I'm glad you gave me a chance.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Johnny's disappeared behind us. But yeah, it is a little bit shorter of a show today. Usually it's a 1 hour show. That usually goes about 3 hours. So it's nice when we can actually keep it down to a regular pace.
I wanted to talk about the council and stuff. I got it off my chest. Thank you very much.
Is there anything else that we're missing here? I know there's just you usually, Ted, is off the charts with ridiculous things going on all over the place. Are you going to be going to any of the expos or anything coming up?
At this point, I'm pretty much a full-time caregiver for my love. She's in a hospital bed at
Gail,
home.
of course, yeah.
So it's really just coming here for a couple of days to deliver newspapers is a big deal. And I don't want to make any commitments
To anything. Well, they have the Dunkin' Dab Fest happening. That's the one I was thinking of. I know.
Yeah, but I'm probably not. It's hard for me to go have fun.
Right.
Doing
I
this
understand
and working
completely.
is good for me and keeps me
Yeah.
busy and but just to go have a party, honestly, I
Right.
just end up crying the whole time.
No.
So
And
I
Ted,
just
it's
can't
really,
do it, but
Gail
I
is so-
appreciate what you're saying.
She's an
man.
amazing. I mean, Gail, we all love so much, and it's really sad. But I'm glad she's doing okay at this point, and that you guys are still going here. And
Enjoying any quality of life.
yeah,
She is, yeah. Like some days she's in a lot of pain or, puking and stuff, but, quite often she's in bed laughing and joking and.
I see your positive posts on Facebook
Yeah.
and stuff, coloring.
And coloring and knitting.
Yeah.
She made this incredible unicorn. It's just phenomenal. And just, so, trying to keep her occupied and busy.
Well, she's so positive, and she's got such a great spirit that it's not a surprise that she's really tackling this really well. And now you said she's using a lot of cannabis.
Yeah.
You sort of gave us the lowdown. She's consuming most of it orally, then, just taking.
Yeah, she's eating a lot of cannabis oil. I make hash caps for her.
Yeah.
And then I apply it topically. We make some pretty strong cannabis oils. And then I apply it, I just basically give her whole body a couple times a day. And then we make patches, like a poultice. So when you press the oils, vegetable oils and stuff out of pot, you take the leftover and you wrap it with cheesecloth and stuff. And so
Strain
she
it.
puts that, because her bones are constantly breaking. She's got some ribs that are breaking on her all the time.
So brutal.
So she puts the patch right over where she's breaking. And she smokes some shatter and some joints. She can't smoke joints a lot of days because of her breaking ribs. They're just coughing.
The lungs
It's just
and
terrible. So on days that the ribs are going, they're back, because her back's broken a couple places too. So so coughing sucks, but.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's a good thing that you can get it in these other forms these days, right?
Yeah, and suppository. She does suppository every day too.
Yeah.
That helps her sleep. Anyway.
Cool. Johnny's back. There's
Thanks for having me
Johnny.
on the show, buddy.
Thanks, Ted. Love you, man. Big time. Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you again soon. And get the latest edition of Cannabis Digest. And Ted, people can get this in head shops all over the place, right here at Cannabis Culture.
10,000, ship them across Canada. If your local head shop doesn't have it, tell them that they just need $15, and we'll mail them 50 of them.
There you go. Not bad at all. Find it at your local head shop. Cannabis Digest and cannabisdigest.ca. Yeah. Ted Smith, amazing activist. And Johnny's back behind us. Hi, Johnny. Can you hear us again? Are you listening, Johnny?
Hi, dude.
Oh, there he is. Hold on, let me turn you.
Johnny.
Let me turn you up here a little bit. I heard you clicking around. Well, we have your blurred face at the moment. You look very handsome when you're all blurred like that. So, yeah, Johnny, sorry we didn't include you much. I had to use your microphone for the other folks. But Johnny, how long until the neck brace comes off?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Wow. So that's whew, you're gonna get so used to it. You're not gonna want to. You're gonna want it for the rest of your life after all that.
I actually have an old from like 10 years ago. They advanced. I should grab the old one. It's so advanced in the collar and the whole system. It's really cool how it dials in and fits. I'm quite happy with it. I've done this before. Last time I wore it for over 3 months.
30 months. Wow.
3 months.
Oh.
That full brace.
It's like, what?
Because
2
you
years?
see the
I don't
bolts
remember this.
on my head here. I don't know if you can see them, but they actually bolted my head to a table here and here. They drove holes in my head, and I was fully strapped down, and I didn't move for 5 hours. Fully.
You were like Frankenstein.
Like, you see that little? They bolted my head right here. Literally bolts and bolt marks. They bolted me to the table.
Jeez, and then they were flipping the table around and getting you upside down and inside out and everything.
Now he's frozen.
Yeah.
You all right, John?
He's yeah.
But I was taking this stuff for this time.
Well, Johnny, it's nice we can sort of have you on the show. It's not the most secure connection here, but we'll work on that for the next show. Yeah, the bionics, they're saying you're like this $6 million man. Yeah, you look like Darth Vader when he takes his mask off. Sounds like him on Skype too. All right, Johnny. Well, we love you, brother, and I appreciate you coming on to the show in your now ghostly form there. But love you lots, man, and we'll see you soon. I'm going to wrap the show up now. So, hot TVers out there, it was awesome tuning in again for today's show. Yeah, we did it. We actually wrapped it up in a decent amount of time today. I'm impressed. Not bad. Neil, come over here before. And before I speak too soon, I said we're going to wrap it up in a decent amount of time, and then bring Neil Magnuson on. So
We won't take
that's
too
out
long
the
here.
window. Yeah, Neil, go back in court. So we have you're wearing the Cannabis Day shirt here.
Yeah, man.
Arrested by the Army of Police at Cannabis Day in court.
They're still going ahead with it. I've got a lawyer who's representing me pro bono, and the prosecutor and him were talking, and the prosecutor says that they are not going to allow me to have a jury trial anymore, and that's not the case. So today I was at the courthouse with the lawyer's assistant going over the transcripts of my original appearances, and there's the judge saying that I can elect a jury if I want. So yeah.
So wait, now I'm confused. They said you couldn't, but then you found out you
Well,
could.
in court originally in my first appearances, I told them they don't have jurisdiction over me, that I'm an officer of a political party in Canada, and it's an election year, and this is a campaign site that we were setting up there. And so I was told that I needed to choose between a jury and a judge, or just a judge alone, and I could choose either provincial court or Supreme Court. And so I haven't chosen anything yet. And I've had several, if not 10 appearances since then, and now I have a lawyer who's going to represent me, and we're before the judge on Tuesday to actually hopefully set a date for this, if they're actually going to go ahead with it. But yeah, it was good to be able to go in there today and prove that the judge actually gave me that option, because
Good.
the prosecutor was denying that happened. So.
That's so weird.
I think they're going to drop it. If I select a jury, which I likely will, then we'll have a preliminary hearing before the actual trial.
Right.
And the lawyers don't think that they're going to allow it to go any farther.
Oh, you got to have the jury though. That'll be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
That would be.
Yeah. And the
Neil.
prosecutor wants to bring one cop up who says that he saw me give out marijuana. And of course, we want all the cops on the stand, including the guy behind the scenes that made the call to do that, what they did there that day to our group. So, yeah, still in process, but it looks like it's actually going to move forward a little bit now. And once it's all done, whether it's because they dropped it or because we beat them in court or whatever happens, then we're going to sue them and make sure that they pay for what they did, and that they have restrictions on that type of behavior by our public servants
This
in
is
the future.
Rob
Yeah, I
encouraging
mean,
you to do this?
public servants creating that situation that they did was so wrong in our society. bringing violence to a peaceful assembly.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it was brutal. It was like, and you could see by the videos that we didn't. It was unprovoked. We were not in their face, and they were in our faces. They came up trying to be intimidating on purpose. There was an army of police officers there that swarmed us in the morning.
And they had trained for it. They trained for
brutal.
hug power. They got what they wanted that day. Unfortunately for them, they also gave us what we've wanted for years, which is video of them being the bullies that they are, and in an effort to stop them from doing that in the future to other people. So anyway, that's my little mini report. You should
Good, Neil.
end your show. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you coming on and telling us. This is an exciting case because, I mean, there's not a heck of a lot going on like this. It's kind of one that we forget about from here time to time. Yeah, do it up. And you know, Neil, I mean, you really did take a hit for everybody on that day because it wasn't just you that was arrested. There were others. You know, other
we
people
all
were
took
also
a hit
selling.
that day. You know, I mean, it was
You weren't the only one
emotional.
selling pot. Everybody was selling weed down there, and they weren't. You didn't sell it
What
to
do you mean I
anybody
was
that you
selling
thought
pot?
was allegedly. You didn't
That was,
allegedly.
that was prop weed. This was a Cannabis Day protest. We always bring tons of prop weed and sell that.
Of course we
don't
do, constantly.
Just to try to bait them into doing something like this, and then hope that they go and test it and find out that it's just oregano.
I'm surprised they. I'm surprised they actually did. Don't be selling that oregano. All
Oregano
right.
is a valuable commodity. It's just not worth $10 a gram.
Oh, it's good, but I like it in my spaghetti sauce, not in my bong.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Neil. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, man.
Awesome show today.
Happy to be on
Appreciate.
the new studio here.
Yeah. Oh, haven't you been on yet?
Well, I was on the first episode you did from here briefly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And,
And look at
I'll
Johnny
be happy
B back
anytime.
here. We're even able to
Johnny.
bring Johnny.
I love seeing Johnny there because he's smiling most of the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were all really worried about Johnny. We were worried about you, John. I was
We
personally
were.
very worried about you. I know you were
was.
telling me it was all good and that it was all going to be perfect. And
I always
everything.
have a smile.
But you were telling the truth, and thanks for that. And I love
The
seeing
man's
you
a god.
smiling.
So we can't, nothing can ever happen to this guy. He's invincible.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, we're gonna close the show down. Thanks to Pod TV and all the viewers out there. Good show today, and we'll see you again next Friday. Watch all of our amazing Pod TV shows on the front page of Pod.tv. Don't forget Redbeard tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific time, and a whole hell of a lot coming through the week. So check it out, Pod TVers. Peace. Woo.